Legal seals, totally random.
Hello, I'm Franz, this is Andy.
Hello.
This is Totally Random, your periodic news show about Concrete5. It is May 17th?
It is the 17th.
17th of May in the year of 2013. And here we are to talk about Concrete5. Not a lot of news today. In fact, we're going to have a pretty nimble little show, I think. But we can start it off by giving away copies of these awesome books. So there's a new edition, second edition of the Beginner's Guide, Concrete5 by Remo, Pact Publishing, and a Creating Concrete5 Themes book, again by Remo.
Two books.
It's like a solid inch of
of
learning there. Yeah. Let's give them away to the 5th and 7th person to post a showcase site.
I see what you're doing here.
To the Facebook Concrete5 group. Right? Stick something that you built in there. Oh, look what I built. The 5th and the 7th person to do so will get, well, the 5th one will get this one, 7th one will get this one. There you go. Boom! Exciting. And you'll be reading and learning.
That's awesome.
What are we doing next? Showcase.
Cool. Using it up.
All right. Let's open.
And now for the showcase session.
Sweet. All right. Well, we've been running the magic Clippy Spider, and we found Alaska Housing Finance Corporation, which is a beautiful design for a kind of, I don't know, stoic-sounding name. But yeah, if you scroll around a little bit, they've got this fun little image slider with the photos and like really nicely thought out corner of those. So I clicked Find a Rental and Buy a Home. You'll see they actually they get the background corner things right, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, clever. I mean, not rocket science, but it's nicely done.
The details matter.
Details do matter, you know. It's nice and pretty and whatnot. And then if you dig in a little bit, shouldn't have to go too far. If you go click on stuff, I don't know, go back up to the main nav. Sure, senior support, it's people, it's content. Sure. How about like Buy a Home or Find a Rental? One of those guys. Somewhere in here, there's a big old doc library that was doing cool stuff. It's pretty nice. Maybe there, yeah.
That sounds plausible.
Nope. Nope, wasn't here. Where was it?
Or search the library.
Energy programs, maybe search the library or something. Nope, wasn't here. Just links and pictures. Somewhere in here was a doc library. How did I find that? It was really easy to find. Huh. Search the library now. Nope, no, maybe. Anyway, good looking Concrete5 site. Don't know who built it, but was happy to find it.
Nice.
So, thanks.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Good work. Let's do karma.
And now for the weekly winners. Come on down.
So every week we run the karma machine and see how many points have added up in the community for different members for helping the project, promoting the project, and doing work. And we run the magic machine and we see who has won which licenses. So let's see what we see, Matt.
It's like my internet connectivity might be a bit of an issue
Oh,
here.
here we go.
Here we are. We're here. We got it. We're all
All right,
good.
sweet.
Here's the Karma leaderboard, and let's check out the weekly winners.
All right.
Looks like Corjete won a copy of the jacket theme
Oh, that's a good looking theme.
I like that
I
thing.
hear.
Nice.
for helping out, and I believe that's probably due to the fact that he wrote up a book and had it published.
Oh, right. Yeah, we talked about that book a couple of weeks ago, I think. The with the turtle and the rocket ship and all that
Oh,
stuff
nice.
on his back. Yeah.
So you got some karma for it this week.
He had a lot
work.
of karma points. I
Right.
think it was probably in the neighborhood of 10,000.
Woo,
Nice.
Big money, big money.
Very cool.
All right.
Then we got a copy of Secret Questions going out to Agency Coteo for
Nice.
promoting Concrete5.
Sweet.
And then Jay Shannon got a copy of the Domain Mapper for doing work.
Right on, right on.
Doing the work.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who is helping in any way, whether you won or not. Your contributions are important, and we do appreciate it. How about stickers?
We got a bunch.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
First one comes from Formwork 5.
Oh, yeah. Found in the wild, huh?
So we got one, yeah, in I think that's, I don't know, where is that?
Paris?
Paris?
Yeah, Paris.
Yeah, that's
Believe
Paris.
so.
I know that metropolitan sign.
Cool. Then we got some more stickers in the wild. This one's from John the Fish.
Oh, that's
Found in the wild.
very much found in the wild. Nice.
And another one as well from John the Fish.
Sweet.
Hey, buddy. Here's a hand.
Low on this. That's quite enough from you.
And finally, we got one from Shippy59.
Wow, big money.
All sorts of
I'm
dollars.
not sure what we're looking at, but
Man,
it's pretty cool.
I don't know how long that's going to be found for. They may remove that pretty quick.
Very nice.
It's awesome.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys. If you would like stickers, we would like to give them to you. All you have to do is go to our swag page underneath Marketplace on our site and scroll down to the bottom. You'll find a form field where you can enter your mailing address. And as I tell you every week, the mailing address is actually a mailing address. That's something that we can write on the outside of an envelope, not a digital envelope of some type of packet thing, but an actual folded up piece of paper. It's like origami with glue.
Has this made a difference, or do people still continue to misuse this form?
I am sad to report
That is
inane
Come on.
as this part of the show
Come
is.
on, people.
It has not made a difference. Joe still desperately wants his sticker. I feel so bad for you, Joe. I don't know how to get
It's
it.
not even a spam. It's just
This is Joe. He desperately wants his sticker. Put in an address.
Sort of comment about this. Someone on one of our YouTube channels commented, these guys really need to get some validation on their form.
No!
false.
Where is the fun in that?
Well, and how are you even gonna?
You can't validate a Russian address. Ever seen a Russian address? It's like a poem. You can't validate that.
Oh.
No, we're not gonna do that. It's a sticker, man. If you want to put something in there, we'll send it to it.
If you can't figure out how to fill it out, we're probably not gonna send it to you.
Yeah, we don't need you putting stickers on things. I don't know. This is too much fun to fix. It's the honest
That
truth.
is fair.
What are we doing now? I think we should check in with Greg Joyce and see what kind of great choice he's looking at.
That's a good idea.
Introducing Great Choice by Greg Joyce.
Greg Joyce, it looks like you're trying to take some culture in or something.
Yeah, man, they, down in the lobby kind of upped the game on the artwork recently.
Oh, wow.
Took note of it this morning. and
Beautiful.
I don't know. I feel like, everybody out there, maybe this weekend coming up, wherever you are, maybe the weather's pretty nice. You should get out there and appreciate some culture, maybe.
All right, man. That's
Yeah.
that's a solid
It
choice.
is a good
man.
choice.
I support that. What other great choices have you made recently?
Well, first thing we got our first ever retraction.
Ooh.
Last week, I said that Goutnet's add-on was an up-down vote thing, and I was completely wrong.
Oh.
It is actually, this is the add-on showcase add-on, and it lets you highlight a concrete5.org marketplace add-on on your personal website, and it's very in-depth in terms of how you can feature this add-on, and so it's a really great thing that if you're an add-on developer or you're just particularly proud of what your website's built with, you can help out your fellow developers and showcase add-ons that you like on your personal website.
Okay.
And I apologize to Goutnet once again about that. All right,
Good work, Greg. Never
And-
say sorry, just apologize for the mess.
that is right.
You got it.
And next up, we have membership commerce from Jay Shannon. And this one essentially lets you purchase group membership on a concrete5.org website, and that's all it does. It's clean and to the point. It's good.
Oh, so it's a standalone. It's not.
Standalone.
Yeah, it's not an extension
It's
for.
not, there's
Alright.
no configurable products. There's no goofiness. It's just
Put a block on a page. Buy your way into a group.
That's right.
Is this Laterco, actually?
Yeah, Lurteco. That's Jay Shannon's company or whatever.
Cool.
Sweet.
Next up, we have another add-on from Bear Dev, and this is Quizmaker Pro. It's the Pro edition of his Quizmaker add-on, and I'm not entirely sure what separates it from the basic version, but it is a pretty decent quiz creation add-on. So
Cool.
Nice.
there we go. Next up, we have the Venture theme from Formigo. And it's a nice looking theme, and it also, in a pretty, generous move on Formigo's part, it includes several of his other add-ons within the theme. So
Oh, cool.
You can really beef up your site with this one.
That's great. As we see more stuff going into theme for us for Concrete 5, I think you're going to see themes treated more as
Like sites.
standalone
themes,
packages
yeah.
like that. Yeah, where it includes some of the goodness that you need for them.
I believe that, yeah.
Next up, we got another Bear Dev add-on, and this is Bear League. And this may be the most elaborate add-on in the marketplace. It's really in-depth. I actually, when I was reviewing it, I had to ask him for a database dump just to have enough information to get a sense of what it even does. But basically, it lets you set up, teams of sports guys, and track your team's progress and things like that through.
You're such
it.
a jock, Greg.
What's up?
You're such a jock.
Sportsman.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a
Sportsmen's.
meathead. I'm sorry out there, everybody. Sometimes I'm just
Get up on the juice.
Yeah,
and nothing
I've
goes.
been so focused lately on Arsenal and Liverpool that sometimes these add-ons fall by the wayside. This is a very good add-on if you like soccer, or actually no, not just soccer.
So-
You could do whatever kind of sport you want with this thing, because that's the nice thing about it is it's just it's an open, it's generic in the way it lets you type everything. So I mean,
What does it actually do? It lets you build scheduling for teams, or
Right,
lets you...
and then you get to say like, okay, these guys won this match, and these guys, and then on the front end you can click through and see like, oh, okay, this is how they're doing, this is how these guys are doing,
Nice.
and so
Is it meant for running your own leagues, or is it meant for like?
Fantasy.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
run. I don't know if it actually does anything like. I don't think it does anything as far as like calculations and stuff like that. So you couldn't do like a fantasy league probably, but you can. It is good if you were managing like a small town soccer club.
That
or
exactly
like,
what I was. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my
basketball at the park or
Yep.
whatever. This would be perfect for that.
Nice.
Or
Yeah.
adult kickball leagues, that sort of thing.
Who would join such a thing?
Foolish.
Ridiculous. All right.
All right.
Grown man.
Next up, Syntax Anywhere by John the Fish. And as the add-on's title says, this lets you have syntax highlighting wherever you want on your website.
Fancy.
Nice.
You add the block to any page, and then the block lets you specify what it's going to look for, and then when it finds like this particular ID or HTML tag or what have you, basically in kind of jQuery thing that you can think of, it'll highlight that text as if it were in your favorite IDE.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just works on its own, huh?
It's good. Yep.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and it also lets you choose which syntax highlighting you want, of course. John the Fish never gives you just one option.
Nice.
Next up is Classic Blue from 55 Web Design, and this is a blue responsive theme.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's-
Last one we got, or not the last one, there's one more theme, right, Matt?
There is, yeah.
This is, can you scroll down? There we go. Yeah, this is Facebook events from Brian Van Delden.
Ah,
And
cool.
you can see it right there. That's how it would look in a page, and it just lets you pick a Facebook page and show the events from it. And obviously people can choose to go or not go right in your website.
Sweet.
sweet.
That's cool.
And we got one last theme, and this is Solid Ground. And do you know the developer on this one?
Oh, I forget.
All right, let me look it up real quick because this is a new developer, and I checked out his website, and it's really good. He's from New Zealand.
Smoking something pretty heavy, man.
That's ink. Oh, a squid just went away.
Oh.
A squid just went
Funny
away.
like, just thought it was like tire smoke. I guess the ink is a better play.
I guess it could be tire smoke too. Maybe
I don't know,
somebody's
just saying.
screeching it out. That's cool.
Right? It's like a Mad Max kind of vibe.
Yeah. Oh, it's by Tin Soldier.
There you go.
And according to his thing, he's been a member since 2011, but this is his first marketplace add-on.
That's always nice to
Sweet.
see.
Congratulations.
But yeah, he's an excellent designer, clearly, and I don't know. I hope he submits some more themes. This one's a responsive theme, of course, because this is 2013, and it looks good.
Nice.
It also includes I think a responsive
Yeah,
slider as well.
Oh, that's always
Very
nice.
nice. Very nice.
Pretty easy to approve this one. There wasn't a whole lot that was outside of our usual conventions and whatever. So, good stuff.
That's what you boys like. Submit that thing when it's done.
All right, peace out, gents.
All right. Thanks, Greg Joyce. Great choices as always. All right. We're reaching the pinnacle of our show today. We are going
mountaintop.
The mountaintop.
Top of the
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, we are in just reaching. We are not on top of yet. We're gonna combine get and how would we do that to what we're getting and how should we do that? I
Yeah.
don't have a custom segment for it. Robert's busy, so I don't know. We play whatever you want.
What did we get and get? How would we do that? Good sir.
Wow, never has the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea part of the get and get intro been so apropos than today of this segment. So what, some context for what we got in Git. It is all about translating dynamic data for multilingual stuff today.
Not all of it, but it is all about translating and localizing your concrete.
Localization challenges in the
Yes.
core. Which has been brought to our attention as one of several things that has been an ongoing problem that we have given less attention to than we should, which is undoubtedly true, because we are, in fact, 10 humans in a room that also have many things to do to pay the bills. So sometimes things do fall by the wayside more than they should. So for that, we apologize. And we also don't always have all the answers.
That's true.
Just like you. Sometimes we know that something just doesn't look quite right or doesn't feel like the best idea, and doesn't mean that we have a better one. Just means, I don't know, we've done some things right, and to us this one looks wrong.
And we also know that as we get bigger and bigger and the code base gets more and more mature, the more we take into the core that we then have to undo, there is it's exponentially more painful to undo and
Yes.
explain those decisions over time.
We do find it difficult from time to time because when we were young and carefree
And nimble.
and nimble, and there was 100
Yeah.
people using Concrete5, it was very easy to say, yeah, I'll give it a try.
Rip it out if it
Let's
doesn't
undo
work.
that. But as we get hundreds of thousands and millions of sites powered with it, we have to be very sensitive to, well, this probably isn't the right way, but something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's way more background than you probably need. Let's bring up some of these pull requests and kind of get into the guts.
Yeah, so all of these are by M. Locati, by the way, so thank you for all of these pull requests. There are more in there. He is a trooper and does a lot of work in GitHub. And all of these, at the beginning of this list, are really about localizing date and time. So I think it was in 5.6, we included Zend Date, which works with Zend Locale to localize dates. So, display months and things like that in the proper language and things like that.
The wrong order for Europe,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so many of these pull requests are just him going through all the places where we show dates. And we already had been using constants for that, so if you cared about changing the way your dates were displayed throughout your site, you could definitely do that. But they weren't translated. So he's gone through and started to use this date helper that we introduced in all of the different places. And
Okay.
they're all very easy to understand, and so they were easy to approve. We just hadn't they're not super old. So we had done 561, I believe, and did a large pass on pull requests, and then these started coming in, and as we've been working on 5.7, we'd let them languish a
So
little
these
bit.
have been kind of
Yeah.
in our. We'll include that when we're ready for
Yeah.
it.
So these are
Probably
none of
haven't
the
communicated that as fully as we should.
Yeah,
but
these are none of
same
the
as easy to deal with.
these are none of the 7-month pull requests. These are more of the 1 to 2 month.
Sure.
We've been working away variety. So they're making it into the master branch, and they'll be included when it looks like we'll do a 5613 at some point in the future. So they will be included in that, and sooner rather than later. And that is these are more M. Locati stuff. This is not specifically translation. I just pulled a lot of stuff that he had, but he's just fixing lots of little things that are easy to approve and add value over time.
Nice.
And as we continue in there, this is all just the same.
Keep cooking.
Localizing
Nice,
localizing
nice.
dates. Same deal here. Same deal there. And as we continue into the last one, we probably can segue into an interesting conversations.
Show attribute username.
This guy.
There we go.
The attribute one is useful, but it's not really what we were talking about. This one is starting to get into what I didn't approve any of the.
This is where we're stuck. So
No, we approved this, but we're
Oh.
moving into stuff that is challenging. This guy was pretty much a no-brainer, but it's where things started to feel a little challenging. So a little bit of background. What this does is it displays block types in a user's language when they are adding them to a page or when they see them in the dashboard. That seems like a pretty innocuous thing, a pretty obvious thing, certainly.
And to give anyone who is not an internationalization pro or a strong developer a little context, what we're talking about here with this T function is the way that you generally deal with internationalizing apps is there are strings, which are bits of text that you would use throughout the program. And instead of just having a button that says print, you wrap that label print in a function called T.
Yep.
And that then pulls that label out and gives you a centralized list of, well, here's all of the words or strings that need to be translated for a specific language. And so someone could go through and say, string in German is, I don't know what string in German.
It's been a long time.
It's a long time.
It's like,
So you translate it, and then it's a mail merge basically.
Yes.
And so that works really great.
It works really great on actual English or whatever your source language strings are that you're adding in code. So when you see, when you're going through your site or your add-on and you see an actual word that you have typed in a language just as text somewhere, it's really great. You just wrap that text in a T function and you know that it will be listed in a centralized translation spot, and if a translation exists in the current language for that, it will be transparently swapped in. No questions asked, no problem.
And then when we build a new version of concrete5, we spit out all those strings and
Yep.
put it up on a third-party service called Transifex.
Yep.
And there are different language managers on Transifex that have volunteered their time to go through and translate all those strings.
So as we make new versions, we run the script against it, and every new version it's adding a few hundred strings. So every new string that didn't exist before gets added to the top, and you get the notification that there are 200 new strings to translate, and it works.
Bob Trump. Now, if you have add-ons, hypothetically, they can wrap their strings with this T function as well, and
can.
then they could have their own
Yes.
language file that went with it. So that all makes sense, but where we get, stuck isn't the right word, but where we're struggling is that's a fixed list. I mean, it's a long list, but it's a fixed list of stuff. And so the challenge that we're having, I think it's a real challenge that needs to be solved, is look, there's dynamic data it's not front-end content that I might just enter in a different language, but it's stuff that it's site-specific and dynamic and grows significantly over time.
Yeah.
That people are suggesting we should wrap that stuff with a T-string as well. So
So if you go back to that last pull request, Matt, this is like the most sensible wrapping of dynamic data in a T function. So if you actually scroll down just a little bit, you can see that the BT description is being pulled from a database for a particular block type, and same with BT name, and that goes into the database in English when you install concrete5. And then when it's now being wrapped in the T function, and we include the block types in the list of translatable strings. So this pull request totally works, and on its face you can say like, well, what took you so long? And that's fair, because while this is coming from a database, it's not tremendously dynamic. There's no interface in the dashboard that lets you change the description or change the name. You could, if you go into the core and rescan those blocks after changing it, you could change that stuff, and it is being pulled from the database, but wrapping it in the T function has really very little downside, because it is relatively fixed. It's just not coming from, it's just not text.
Yeah, so you're adding the
files.
descriptions for the blocks, and it's like, well, that's a bunch more data, but it's a known amount, and so be it.
And we do this also in the dashboard. We wrap the dashboard page names in a T function, so that you can see that even though those are coming from the database, the dashboard page names and stuff like that are localized. But again, it's at this point that it starts getting less and less easy to just say, oh, that's an obvious thing. So one of the pull requests in here is doing the same thing with attributes. And on its face, that seems sane, because you have stuff like exclude from nav, meta title, etc. These are attributes that are going to be in every concrete5 installation, and they get installed in the core, and their strings are included in the way they get included. The strings are included in the language files as well. But we just wrapping the output of those things is a little challenging, because you can add to that list of attributes, and you're wrapping those strings in a T function. And
right, so there's some attributes that come with the core, exclude from nav, that makes sense. Why would you not want that translated? No biggie. But then attributes are used by a lot of people to do really complicated things. I want to build a digital asset management system and start adding, like, how many people are in the picture, what color, and some of those choices might have dozens of answers. It might be a select list with 100 answers.
Yeah.
And so do we really want to just wrap everything in this T function and hope that there's no performance hit, and hope that like what would you do with all that? Where would that be translated? And how would that work?
And then you have to, if you could get those, you could get an add-on. I think there is a third-party add-on for this, and our internationalization enterprise add-on handles this too. You could get an add-on that lets you add to those translatable files from your concrete5 site. So, if you added an attribute and we wrap the attributes in T strings, you could go into those translation files and add the name of your attribute, and that would automatically translate it. But yeah, not everyone has that add-on installed, and it's challenging. The select attribute with the options is another excellent. That's not just the name of the attribute; that's the actual content of the attribute too. Because how do you localize the options in a select menu, for example? Like it's
that's tricky.
Yeah, and one could say you could take a piecemeal approach, and we probably will, and certainly we will with this block type thing. But do you want, is this a case where something is better than nothing, or is that really not the case, because if you have to undo that something and then tell everyone to do something else, is that really fine?
I don't know if there's going to be an easy answer on this. These are kind of decisions that we typically make, type of conversations that we typically have later in the day with a whiteboard, and sometimes it is really just the choice of two evils. Usually how we do this is we try to break it into smaller problems. So what is the underlying beef that, beef, what is a thing that, and it's not just us, other people have looked at this pull request, and if someone wants to be like, this does not feel like
and to be clear, this is not the block type one, but there is another one in there that wraps attribute names in T strings on the front end, and that's rubbing, that feels wrong.
It feels wrong. I don't know, and wrong might even be too strong of a word. It just doesn't feel like a slam dunk. It feels like, oh wow, God, I guess that worked.
Or a holistic solution.
Why? I would argue perhaps for two different reasons. One concern in my mind is a performance concern. I don't know how real that is, but it just seems like, boy, really, you're wrapping. How many times you calling this function? And we definitely don't build for performance first, generally. I mean, we've said many times we build for flexibility and ease of use, and then performance. That's the order that we generally go with.
Get it right, then make it
kind of
fast.
balance between
but we're not
ease of
sure
use and
this is right.
flexibility and performance is like we'll clean that up later. But that's kind of burned us in the past, and 5612 had a fair amount of energy going into trying to get this thing run faster on GoDaddy, and that's a problem that we all get. So it's all well and good that people in Europe have this issue and they need that solved, and that's true. But if that's going to make people everywhere else have new issues, that's not something that we can just blithely say yes to. So I don't know if that performance thing is a huge concern or not. It could simply be like, no, dude, we're calling thousands of functions on every page load anyways. Get over it. Fair enough. But I guess that would be one silo of concern that I think we have as we look at this as a solution. The other way to think about the problem with the GG, is this really the right way to do it, is again, just to me, is the interface around dealing with it. So like if I'm adding attributes, like do I really, I guess there is that third-party add-on, and we have our own add-ons that give you a spot to manage these PO files, but there's something nice about the existing solution in that, look, you can give someone a language file and it's everything that they need. And as soon as you start basically building into the core the assumption that, look, there might be more dynamic data that you're going to translate through this, it seems from a user experience standpoint, you're kind of blending modes, right? And now we're saying, look, the actual content for your site, you can just manage in whatever language that you want. We generally suggest if you're managing multiple languages that you do it across multiple trees, and we've got a free add-on that helps you keep relationships between those trees. So your contact us page in Spanish knows where the contact page is in English, and that all works. Then we've got an enterprise version of it that gives you workflow tools on top of it. But then how does that jive with the fact that you might be making content on that page as an attribute that you now need to go translate somewhere else entirely?
Central dashboard kind of console. Or, another way to do it is, attributes get, 1 to however many languages you have, they get display names in those languages on each attribute. We know
you actually build support for internationalization into the attribute model, because it's only attributes that ever need to do that. So that would be another way to think about it. And
that is something that we've thought about doing, but as you can tell from that solution, that's not an insignificant amount of work. And so that's where, if that's the way to go, that's what we should commit to, but it would help to have this conversation.
We should really think about it. And I think that would make sense if it was only attributes where this problem
But then you get groups. People want to do the same thing with groups. That's another pull request that's sitting in there. It's the exact same issue.
Yeah.
So there are certain areas where
you can make custom permissions now too, right?
Yes, you can.
And you've got
task permissions.
Right?
So maybe it really is wrapping all that stuff in T-strings and figuring out a way to get that stuff into that.
Build we should build that into the core. Maybe we already have a free add-on that does that. We could build that in.
The one reason that we haven't really had this conversation so much, even though concrete5 has been localized since 2009, is it's only been in the last few versions that we have, or maybe in the last year and a half, 2 years, that we have given you the ability to switch languages for one install. So we've given you the ability to run concrete5 in German since nearly the very beginning, but it's always been, well, my site is English, or my site is German, etc. So then if it's one language, you can run the whole thing in another language, and then you just rename your groups into the
groups are
target language.
In that language,
and same with attributes. It's the only thing that's really become difficult is the ability to switch on the fly. So this is a reason why this is more of an issue now than it used to be, is you can switch languages in the admin console.
Which is tough, though, because as concrete5 matures, that border between, well, look, there's the editing experience and then there's the front-end content experience kind of changes a little bit. Like the attribute value is the perfect example, right? Like I might add an attribute, the handle for it can be whatever. You can train someone that, look, that's color, it's just written in English, or that's color, it's just written in German, you're using it in English. But if the actual value is displayed on the page somewhere, then, well, that needs to be translated. So, it's a tricky wicket. So I'm curious, does anybody have any bright ideas in our chat room on this? How does our competition deal with this? And has anybody smarter than us solved this? I mean, is this really one of those, it's just a beast of a problem, and so you just deal with it that way. I mean, sometimes in life you just got to dig a hole. And you can stare at the ground and go, there's got to be a better way so you're blue in the face, but you can also just pick up the shovel and dig. So,
and if you
that might be
commit,
this.
if you commit to wrapping this dynamic stuff in T-strings, you can tell yourself, look, this is only really going to be kind of an extra administrative challenge for sites that are running, big real sites in multiple languages. So they might have the expertise to, deal with this secondary
The
translation.
interface problem I'm
Yeah.
worried about is less of a problem.
Yeah.
As long as we're not creating a huge performance hit, or we can mitigate that in some way, then it's okay. I don't know. I mean, that might be it.
That might be it.
So I guess the two things are, if you wonder why we don't just blithely approve things that come into Git, it's because conversations like this are in fact happening here as we have the time and attention, and we will, as we are today, try and make those conversations more transparent. The second thing is, help. What should we do on this, gang? What do you think, Matt? Have you been watching the chat room on this?
I have. Looks like we have a comment from Chad Strat. That's the only one I've seen that's
all
kind of
related?
relevant to what you guys are talking about.
Cool.
He says maybe attributes could be translated differently. In other words, process them separately to their own at-lang table.
I think that's what you were suggesting.
Yeah.
It's just attributes. We could just build it into the core. But I think I'm wondering if that is.
It's tough because there are more
Cut it,
things.
yeah.
The permissions are
Groups.
I hadn't thought about that. That's totally valid. Groups. Yeah.
And as we continue to go
Yeah.
forward, it's only going to get worse. As we talk about the gathering block.
Oh yeah. No, new composer stuff. It's a whole.
Yeah, I mean, if you really, I mean, that switching the entire back-end interface between stuff, it's difficult to want to build columns for everything that you would want. Every
in the
potential
interface
language in
too.
the
That
interface seems
sounds
like a
rough,
bad
yeah.
play.
Yeah.
So
as we're talking about it, that seems less and less. I mean, that's
less
certainly
and
the
that's how
that's
this
certainly the
goes,
thing
yeah.
that I, the first thing that came to my mind. But as I sit with it, I don't even know how the admin would work for some of those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's this delicate balance of you don't want to over-engineer your solution so it's a machine that solves all problems but actually does nothing. But it takes a lot of energy to run. But on the other hand, you don't want to just cook your dinner on a campfire and not have any tools at all. So,
Got a comment from here in T who adds maybe we could only do it for attributes if internationalization is enabled.
Yeah, we do. The way that the localization, some of the performance issue is mitigated in that if you're running in the source language, if you're only running in one language, we're not passing any, or if you're only running in the English locale, we're not even enabling internationalization, we're just passing straight through. So we would have to add these T functions, but the overhead on a T function is very, very low if you're not actually using
all right. So maybe my concerns are.
it would, it would make a hit for, international sites, but maybe that's just what's required when you're, if you're site
I'm okay with
switches
that.
between-
If you're
how it's
running
gotta
a
be.
site in many languages and you're in Germany and you're angry about it, get a bigger server. Sorry, bro, but I just can't allow that to impact Sally Sue's website on GeoCity or on GoDaddy dramatically. I mean, a little hit. I mean, it's certainly not the first time we've done that, but we just want to be very sensitive about that. I don't know. I mean, I think what we'll do is we'll get Mike to start a thread on this. Mike's going to try to help us kind of consolidate some of this. I think another challenge for us is that we see a lot of these things kind of emerge in a very granular format. I mean, as you've seen, there's
They trickle
a
in.
dozen pull requests and just as many forum threads across beta and community leaders and developing with concrete5 in the forum. So Mike is going to kind of cross-link all those together into one thread, and we will repost the summation of our, it's not confusion, it's just kind of our, we really like it when solutions have like a grace to them, and it's just like, I just did this and it's perfect, and like this one just doesn't quite feel that way. And sometimes it's what it is. So that's the way it's starting to feel to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, discussion on that would be great. Anything else? Any other questions that we can answer here on our
We're slaying dragons here.
our terse, totally random today?
Yeah, I'm gonna scroll back a little bit here and see
All
what's
right.
going on. Got a question from Barthusis. I believe that's probably not how you pronounce that name, but we'll try. Is there a way to build any security into my package that checks if a package was really bought at concrete5.org or not?
Not really.
No.
No, we've consciously avoided trying to build IP protection into open source stuff bought through a marketplace for relatively small stuff.
Yeah. Sympathize.
Totally
But-
get it, but I think you're going down a road that is likely to cause a lot of bad press for little actual benefits.
Yeah.
It looks like in this use case, this developer would like to add a referral code, and they would not like other developers to modify the add-on after the fact to change it to be their different referral code. Some sort.
Like to Amazon or something like that?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not something that you're going to be able to easily do through our marketplace.
Yeah.
You can certainly put the referral code in there, and that's what that is when someone downloads it. And you can certainly we put a fair amount of effort into making sure that people aren't reusing other people's code through the PRB process. That does emerge from time to time. Hey, that's my add-on with your name on it. So,
Yeah.
energy goes into that. But it is open source and it is software, so it is safe to assume that
Short of compiling it, which we're not going to accept.
I'm not going to do that.
Kinda out of luck.
Kind of luck. You might think about the fact that when you start a support request, you only are able to do that through a license that is joined. That you've purchased a
That's
license
true.
for the software.
So you're not going to be supporting.
And
you're not gonna
generally,
have the
you can
pain
see
of
if they,
dealing with these
when you
people.
purchase a license on concrete5, you can either just download the file directly or you can join to a project page. Either way, we give you some information at the top of that support request about what this license is about. So if you find someone that has purchased one copy of the thing and they're asking you question after question and they're referencing different sites, you can certainly give them a hard time. I think the best way to do that is to point out, hey dude, this is a single site license and I notice you're asking me for help on 3 sites. I've put together a special offer for you, which you can do through your My Account area, and I'm giving you X% off because I can see you've got 5 sites that you're doing, so I'm going to give you 5 licenses for the price of 3, and I'll be glad to help you once you pay your bill. But that's how I would deal with it. I know that's how other people have dealt with that. And there you go.
Yeah.
Question from John the Fish. He asks, with Shopify now a core add-on, what are the future plans for e-commerce?
E-commerce exists and is great. Shopify is cool too. We're dancing with some other e-commerce folks, and depending on what we can get their APIs to do, may offer those hosted solutions as well. And we're working on a super beefy enterprisey e-commerce solution for a client of ours that's very intimidating and eats up several whiteboards in the office today. So all those things can exist and they're all fantastic. Our e-commerce add-on's not the only e-commerce add-on in the marketplace either.
Yeah.
So
It's not going anywhere.
there it goes.
Got a question from J.A. Steele, and he asks, are trailing slashes versus none in URLs dead in the water? Sounds like there was some sort of debate about that.
I don't know what the answer is to that. I think you can configure your concrete5 site to work either way. It's an HT access trick, right? We did this for one of our clients recently.
Yeah, they may want it in the URLs that we generate. So, I've forgotten what our default is, whether we put it on or I believe we leave them off. I think someone wanted a constant at one point to hit the default.
That seems like a reasonable thing.
He mentions that you had something on your blog, Andrew, about this a while ago.
Oh yeah, a long time ago. There was also talk about enforcing that with redirects, and that's another challenging one because you have to go through all the redirects that we do and ensure that it does it. I think it's not dead in the water. It's a low priority as always. Because as Franz mentions, you can enforce these through HT access as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I don't think there's anything about it that would keep us from. But if that were testable and approvable, we would. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing from a performance or a
No.
interface or a political
no,
standpoint that we're against. It's just,
we'd like to have it.
don't know what the SEO people want next.
Yeah.
Got a question from Chad Stratt. He asks, I'm really excited about the new Shopify add-on. Is there a chance you could re-demo that for us later on?
You didn't like last week's demo on that? I thought it was really compelling.
We've already put it up as the official demo for the add-on, so I don't know why we would
the issue
redo
would be on that. Yeah, that is on a list.
I don't think we're
on my
gonna do it
desk.
live.
Probably not going to do it live until random. That was rough. Yes, we will do a demo on that. It is what you would expect it to be, Chad. You can probably figure it out pretty quickly, and it is free. But we will put together a demo so it's easier to share with your clients.
Question from Junovo, talking about licenses. I see free add-ons, but the terms say I have to apply again for another, which seems a little confusing. I think this is in regards to there being licenses for free add-ons, and it seems strange to them.
Well, a license is a legal contract of your relationship to the person who wrote the software. So the amount that software costs has nothing to do with whether there's a license or not. For example, concrete5
click through those
free.
I agree on iTunes and pay for iTunes.
You agree to licenses every day. So, for example, concrete5 is MIT license, which is a short little paragraph and says you can't sue us, which is nice for me. GPL, that's free software too. It's a big old long license and says, look, if you're going to do something to this, you have to release it for free to someone else in some ways too. So, those licenses are important. There's that side of it. The other side of it is you're building project. You don't have to, but people are often building project pages on concrete5.org that map to their site, and they're telling a client, look, we need this, that, and the other, and you'll have the site that you need. So from kind of a user experience standpoint, it just made sense to be able to fill a cart up with stuff that you were going to apply to a website, whether it cost money or not.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to have two different ways to do that, depending on if it cost something or it didn't. So I would urge you to just be okay with it and forge ahead into the future.
That wraps up the questions that I see.
All right.
Cool.
Well, we're going to get back to it, and believe we'll see you next week, and we'll post something about the challenge of the dynamic translation stuff and see if we can come up with a...
That'd be a good conversation to have.
Even if we
one
just get to,
spot,
that's the way you have
everybody
to do it,
involved.
suck it up, and then we'll feel a lot better about it.
Absolutely.
And we can all know that we're on the same page. Anyway, it has been totally random, guys.